and say you look good. So now we know who your favorite neighbor is. Is that what we just did? Turn to the next favorite neighbor and say you smell good. And if there's anything that they're wearing, a blouse, a dress, a necklace, shoes, and you want it, say that is mine in the name of Jesus. Please, except for my suit, except for my shoes, I cannot help you. Please be seated. Thank you so very much for the very warm welcome to the DJ. You just know how to do it. Thank you so very much. To our beautiful, multi-talented, multidisciplined, multidimensional master of ceremonies, Soiree Hansen-Smith, who literally was given more than 5 talents. She was clearly given a lot more, and she's stewarding them in such a lovely way. Please, another round of applause. So beautiful. She is literally light. You know what I said? You are the light of the world. She literally is light. And I must say that as she was, we were talking about our physical being and we were talking to ourselves, and she says, I love my lips and I love my neck and I love my breasts. I looked at my executive liaison, Alex Sterling, beside me, just to see if he was also saying that he loves his breasts. National Bishop and wife, Bishop Dr. Winston Leith and Minister Dr. Heidi Leith, thank you so very much for having me. The National Women's Ministry Director, Conference Host and husband, Minister Nikisha Smith and Pastor Robert Smith, to visiting pastors and ministers, all pastors and ministers of Church of God of Prophecy Jamaica, to the daughters of a mighty, majestic, sovereign, worthy King, good morning. Now, first of all, for those of you who know me, you know that I would have worn blue if we didn't know there was a color team. But somebody from the team, I can't remember if it was Nikisha or Sherrian, who said, don't worry about it, Terri-Karrelle, you represent the blood. Of blood, the only thing that Shawana did not mention, because she was speaking about all of the other things and the accomplishments, is that I'm also sweetly saved. And I said that to this day, getting baptized is the greatest. It's not one of the greatest achievements or one of the greatest accomplishments. There's nothing that I have achieved in this life that I did not achieve it if it was not for the hand of God. Therefore, being baptized, I tell people, it is the greatest achievement. If I don't achieve anything else in a life, I am good. We're ready? Beyond the beyond. I've never shared this story. I mean, I've spoken to at so many different events, and I've never shared this story, but it dropped in my spirit, and I thought that I would share it, especially with the daughters who are here. When I listen to my bio and I see how people greet me, and even the credibility and how I have grown over the years, I literally have to say, if it weren't for God. And I'm going to tell you why. My mother graduated from high school, and she was going to get ready to start her higher education abroad. And when she got on that plane, her mother, my grandmother, who many people might have known as Jeannie Baby, looked at her and said, now Donna, you get this opportunity. Go and make the most of it. And please, whatever you do, do not come back. Ta-da! She jumped on that plane, she went abroad, and it wasn't long after that she came back home and said she was pregnant. She was 21 at the time, and I can't imagine what it would have been like. This would have been in the early 80s. She was fearful, and what I was told, she actually told me this, is that she actually considered aborting me. It was a real fear of what will happen, and she didn't want to be a disappointment, and how would it look, and so there was a real fear that she had about this unborn child. And she went to my grandmother and she spoke about this real fear and that she really did not want to necessarily have me, but for God. And I look at where I am now, and I hear the Bible, and all the time I go, I'm not even supposed to be here. And so before I even start to talk about beyond the beyond, no matter how we were conceived as women in this room, many of us were conceived very differently, under different circumstances. Many of us may not have been wanted, may not have been desired. Poor us, our mothers may not have just been in the right frame of mind. But let this just be a reminder that once you are given the opportunity and once you are here, you have the greatest gift, and that is to self-actualize and to become who God has ordained you to be. And so the first thing I want us to really understand is that we have to go beyond the fear. My mother went beyond her fear, and now I am here as a living testimony to what happens when you go past it, you put your faith in God and you say, all right, God, do your work. And so for somebody who was never supposed to be here, I am grateful. And I hope that every morning we get up, we are absolutely grateful for the life and the opportunity to be better than we were before. All right? So the first thing we're going to do is to go beyond the fear. Let's go on. Let's go on. I'm at St. Andrew Prep. I graduate. I get to Campion College. I heard someone say it. I get to Campion College and everything is going well. I hit second form and I wake up one morning and I go to see my grandmother crying in the living room. And I go, are you okay, Grandma? Time has gone. I should have already gotten my bus and gone off to Campion College. And she said, Karrelle, I can't explain everything to you right now. It's a financial crisis that we're in. I don't even know when you'll be able to go back to school. Give me an opportunity to just collect my thoughts. Later on, I would find out that our house was put in the cleaner and it was up for foreclosure, which means that homelessness was right there. But we never worried about it. Grandma had a little money in the bank because if anybody grew up with your grandparents, you know, them always have a little money stashed either in their bosom or under a mattress. And that is what she used, and she sent me to school until the money. What is the first utility that goes when you're not the money? And then what is the second utility that goes? In fact, when the water went, and by the way, for those of you who do not know me, I'm coming from Portmore. So I was taking 2 buses to get to halfway tree, you jump in a bus, and then you take another bus going up to Papine, and I would get off and go to Campion. What my grandmother used to do was pack empty plastic bottles. And I used to pack that in my school bag. I used to go to school, go into the girls' bathroom when I was getting ready to leave, and I would fill the water bottles with water. And for the bigger water bottles, we used to either go to the KFC Portmore Mall, or we used to go to the gas station where we would fill up there. Now, for those of us who know that you have to ration water when it comes to washing, washing your clothes, especially your blouses, they're just some important parts. You wash them, and you wash them. After the light went, the water went. What's the next? Yeah, man, the food is definitely good all that time. Gas. The gas. And so now I was going to Port Henderson and I was buying $20 bucket of coal and learning how to fan your coal pot in the back of your yard before you put on your uniform to go to the Campion College. And when everything was now done, having the anxiety of being given a letter from your grandmother to go and trust. I hated it. but she did what she had to do. And I remember there was a Miss Shaw, God bless all the Miss Shaws in the world, she worked in the office. And whenever I never had the lunch money, I'd go to Miss Shaw and say, Miss Shaw, you know, I lost my lunch money on the bus. And she'd take out her money and she'd give it to me. And another time I'd say, Miss Shaw, you know, I forgot I was leaving this morning. And when I look back, I realized that Miss Shaw probably knew exactly what was going on. But for me to hold on to my dignity, she went along with it. Now I can sit down and I can tell you about all the things that went wrong for me in second form, but how about I want to tell you that I was never late. I was never absent. I was never dirty. I want to tell you that I was still a student leader, still showing up, still doing what I had to do, still showing up with a smile and an armor of, I can do this. And I remember when the end of year reports came, and for those of you at Campion College, you could have get 96% and come 20th in your class. So I want you to picture all of this is happening. Nobody, I'm not talking to anybody about it. I am showing up as normal as they come. The end of year report comes. I get the envelope. I go upstairs to the girls' bathroom. I lock myself in the cubicle and I shakily open my school report to see that I have placed first time with Trevor David Road. And I will never forget the boy because all I keep on saying is why you could just let me have first place all by myself. But the reason I explain this, and I'm explaining this, is because even though I would have been 14 years old at the time, I understood that this had to pass. This problem, even if I didn't think I deserved it, I was a good student, I never gave any trouble. I knew that this had to be something temporary. I also understood and I realized that I am not in control of what I am not in control of. Therefore, the only thing I could possibly think to do now is to control the controllables, which is my attitude and my approach. So even when I was taking the bus, even when I never have no lunch money, and for those of us who are absolutely women here and who have gone through life, you would know that the bus drivers are in your ears as a little girl. You will know that conductors are in your ears as a little girl. You will know that the taxi operators are in your ear as a little girl. And you will know that when you are all the way down and your back is against the wall, proposition seems so nice. But you have to resist. And you have to know, which is why I love James. I love that verse that says, consider it pure joy, brothers and sisters. When what? When you face trials and the tribulations. Why? Perseverance. Let perseverance complete you so that you lack nothing. Imagine if I had given in to the foolishness just because my life getting a little bit shaky. You realize that in your hardest times is when your character is either built or it is revealed. It is in your hardest times, your trials and your tribulations, when things are absolutely not working out, that your character is either built or it is revealed. And therefore, as we speak about purpose, we have to go beyond the fear and we have to go beyond the problem of now. And so I put my work to the bone, I put my body to the bone, and I make sure I'm going to do what I have to do, because when this thing passes, I will be on the better side of what God has for me. Amen? And God came through, and I'm going to show you how He came through. And I'm telling you that your track record has to be your track record regardless of what is happening. My grandfather, who was in Barbados, came home and he paid the entire mortgage. The house was fine. And when we asked, how did you do all of this? He said, well, for all the years we've known Karrelle, she's always put in the work. Sometimes we get so caught up with what is happening with us right now that we do not know that people are still watching us. People are still watching us. You are still ministering to people, you know, and they will come and assist you. But if you decide you're just going to do whatever you want to do, you will lose that blessing. And so I had to go beyond the problem of now. So I get to sixth form, and we're getting ready to leave out of Campion. For those of us who did common entrance, who are the ladies who did common entrance? Maths, English, and mental ability. That means that we did A levels, yes? I hear them doing something called Cape now, but I don't understand what that is. A recruiter comes to Campion. My class happened later on, so I was not there when the recruiter came. And when I got onto campus, all my friends came to me and said, Terry, a recruiter came, there is a job, and we think you'll be the best person for this job because you can eat all you want and you don't have to pay for the food. Tell me more. I am a big bag. Found out later on that yes, they were in fact looking for summer workers. They had a job, and I asked my friends, so who's going to go up for the job? Who's going to interview? Some of my friends at the time looked at me and said, no, we've worked so hard during A levels, so we're just going to take the summer off. Must be nice. There are others who said, no, Terry, we're going to just work with our parents, our firms and companies and businesses. You know, must be nice. There are others who said, well, we've already looked, we've gone, we've already identified the colleges abroad, and so we're going to take the summer, go up, get our apartments, our dorms. The biggest problem is that a lot of us compare ourselves to people, and we realize that you cannot compare your life to somebody's life. And you mustn't badmine them for it, because whatever God has planned for them is planned for them. And in that moment, I knew that my life and their life were not the same. And therefore, kudos to you, but me I'll go for the job interview and see if I can make a little money to see if I would get my scholarship to go abroad. I went for the interview, got the interview, found out the job was in Montego Bay, packed my little suitcase, jumped on an executive bus, Portmore, Montego Bay, step onto the property. Sandals, Montego Bay. I never known about all-inclusive hotel. I didn't know they existed. I didn't even know what a job was. We walk by, not by. So I jump on, they come, they say, here is your pin, here is your blouse, here is your shorts. You will be a playmaker. And I said, I'm excited, but what? When you trust in God, sometimes you accept opportunities. You're not qualified for, you don't know nothing, but you know if you give the word, He has already equipped you, don't it? So when they said playmaker, I said, what is that? They said, you're an entertainment coordinator. I said, so am I supposed to sing, play drums? What am I supposed to do? They said, no man, you're just required to make the guests feel comfortable. You accommodate them, you facilitate games and activities. I said, no problem. Got into my uniform on Monday, we show up, an entertainment group, the manager says, team, this is Terry, she'll be a new member, a summer worker. Please, for the week that she'll be here, she's going to understudy you. And after that week is up, Terry, you are on your... Now before I continue the story, do you know how much my good salary was? I would get paid every Friday for being a playmaker. I'm working from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Then we came back 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. How much was I earning every week? You bitter like Cersei. Somebody said $5,000? Is that JMD? Not so much. Can I come on this side of the room? 10,000 JMD. Anybody has any more guesses? How much did I earn per week? 15,000, 20,000. How much? 8, 15, 12. I earn a whopping weekly salary of 2,000 Jamaican dollars. And let me tell you, somebody said, crazy. That's it. Wait back after tax. There's someone working and can't tax man get $2,000. It was $2,000 and everybody laughs every time they hear that. But for the person who has $2,000 is a lot. And a lot of us sometimes we want the big, but sometimes you have to start So for me as a summer worker, waiting to find out if I get a scholarship to go and study abroad, for 8 weeks, 2,000 times 8, $16,000, we're rich. So the first week finishes, and when I come back in, the Monday, my manager says, congratulations, Terry, you are employee of the week. And I said, well, that's cute. There's only about 8 of us in the group. And he said, no, I don't think you understand. You are employee of the week for the entire property. And I said, well, how does this work? They said, well, every Sunday, we push a survey under the door. And there's a question that asks, who is the team player who made your stay most enjoyable? And people put Terry, playmaker. Because I became employee of the week, I earned another whopping. So you just said the $2,000 or $4,000. And on property, I'm not spending anything on rent, water, light, food. Remember we said it. So guess what happened in the second week? Employee of the week. Third week. Employee of the week. Out of the 8 weeks I was there, I was employee of the week 7 out of the 8 times. Yeah? When I keep calculating the 2,000 times, I'm passing a particular room and I hear, I hate it here. I hate Sandals, I hate Jamaica, I'm not coming back. Pack it up. I knock on her door. By the way, when you're a summer worker, they give you your uniform, you go and you do your business and nobody already train you, right? I knocked on her door and I said, hi, I'm Terry. I'm a playmaker. What seems to be the problem? She says, I'm getting married. 15 of us are here. This was our destination. But we were supposed to get a room with an ocean view. And instead, look, bush. She used the term garden, but we use the term bush. And I said, hold on. Don't be so hasty. Let me see what I can do. Summer worker, 8 weeks at $2,000 a week. And I turned around and I went to the front desk and I said, listen, we have a situation. This is what's going on. Can we? And reservations just... And she said, I have a room. I have an ocean view. Here's the keys. They programmed the keys. I went to the bellhop and I said, come, follow me. We're going to go to the room, get the bride to be, get her in her room. Went to her room and I said, I'm so sorry for any inconvenience that was caused. Certainly, Sandals Jamaica would never want you to come here and not get the wedding that you absolutely deserve. So guess what we did? We got you the room. In fact, you got an even better room than Ocean View. I will wait outside and allow you to pack, and then I will escort you over to your room. I am a summer worker here for 8 weeks, earning $2,000 a week. Why do I share this story? Because many of us, our excellence is conditional. Our excellence is tied to how much money we earn, who we know, who know us, who we like, and what everything comes with that. If we don't think the person is worthy of our excellence, we don't give them our excellence. If we think that somebody don't have the right amount of money, we don't want to talk to them and we don't want to deal with them. Our excellence, if we are truly daughters of God, is that we are supposed to steward our gifts and our excellence to the maximum. And we must do that without even expecting anything in return. Because this is what is due, because God says so. And so my excellence was, it didn't matter that I was here for just 8 weeks. And it didn't matter that I was earning $2,000. I was going to operate at a very excellent level. Beyond, you have to go beyond the condition, beyond the things that are in front of you. So guess who called for me? The general manager. When am I going to fire me? Summer worker, 8 weeks, 2,000. I went before Sir Peter Peter Kane, excuse me, and I sat before him and he said, he had a piece of paper and he said, so who are you? I said, I am Terri, sir. He said, what are you doing? I'm trying to make a little bit of money. And he said, well, the thing is that you're showing up on my surveys, you're showing up in reports, you're showing up in meetings, and I want to know, is it that you want to pursue hospitality? I said, no, sir, I actually want to study veterinary medicine. He said, well, I am willing to give you a full package, full benefits, right now, if it is something that you want. And I stopped there to say, a lot of the times we do not accept opportunities because they don't come in shiny, beautiful, polished packages. We look at things and we say, no, so we don't want this, that is too small, not realizing that you have to put your foot in the door first. You do the work and then everything is offered to you. So imagine this man is now telling me you will get full benefits after just seeing me in operation and now on my last week. And I said to him, thank you, but I'm waiting on my scholarship because I really want to pursue veterinary medicine. And so I didn't take the job, but what that showed me was that again, people are always watching. People are watching, and everything you do, you are ministering beyond what it is you have been called to do in the moment. Please be conscious of that. You cannot call yourself Christians. We cannot call ourselves daughters of a king when we say one thing, but people are seeing something completely different. So your excellence has to be unconditional. So I am in my penultimate year because I get the scholarship. I'm going to Cuba, and in my penultimate year, I come home and I enter Miss Jamaica World. When I enter with a big afro. And when we went to Sovereign, and all of us are showing, you know, who we are and what we can do. And by the way, when I showed up, I never have no makeup. I didn't understand anything about beauty or pageants. And when I saw the other girls there, I wondered, what am I doing here? What? Really and truly, what am I doing? But I got called back from the audition and 16 of us were chosen. We get to Sovereign Center because this is going to be our public showing. And after the public showing, people are saying, the girl with the afro, I go to my mom to ask my mom, how you thought I did? She said, you did great, man. But she looked troubled. When I asked her what was the issue, she said a lady came to her and asked her, is contestant number 14 your daughter? And she said, yeah, man. My girl, that woman said, great girl, nice package, personable, but she cannot win. And the reason she said, laugh, Georgie, bright and out harder. The reason she said that was she continued to say she cannot win with that hair. Have you not seen the queens who have gone before her? She will have to make a decision around her. The night before the pageant, we're all at Soft Sheet Carson, our hair technicians, where you can cut your hair, color it, perm it, straighten it, you can do anything you want to do. And they left me for. And while I sat there at the end of a conference table, they looked at me and they said, so, what do you want to do with your hair? I said, what do you mean? And I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. They said, what do you want to do? What do you want? And I said, we're going to wash it. We're going to condition it. And we're going to keep it moving. And they said, are you sure? Wash it, condition it, and we're going to keep it moving. Well, you know, I show up at the Jamaica Pegasus because it's the night of the coronation. And while we're there competing, they start with the sectionals, right? Oh my God. The contestant, most congenial, the one who all the girls vote as the nicest girl. Contestant number 14. The step forward and say, Lord, no, them no send me. And then they say, the most aware award goes to contestant number 14. So I step forward and I said, no, they're not going to know something not only nice for me. Right? And then they said, you know, Miss Jamaica World talent goes to Contestant number 4. So now them know something nice, but bright. So I said to myself, even if I don't win this pageant, I have come here in the way that I am wonderfully, fearfully, beautifully made. And if this is to be mine, it will be. And if it is not, no opportunity is lost. Them called 5th, them called 4th, them called 3rd, and I'm seeing the girls who are the front runners, and I'm like, but she come 2nd? How who come 1st? And then they said, Miss Jamaica World 2005 is contestant number 14. Crown born ahead, crown fall off, after too big. It was a new day for many of us, because for many of us, even as Christians, we are expected to we are to dim. There is shame about stepping out and saying, I was made, I was created in this way, and this is how I will present myself. When we went to Sanya, China to represent, the people came back and they said that African work for Jamaica, you know, but when you're going up against Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Venezuela, Argentina, they came back with a question: what are you going to do with your hair? I said, we're gonna, and on that international stage, I would go forward, top 15, Jamaica flags. Why do I share this story? It's not because I won Miss Jamaica World, but it's because you have to go beyond the world's idea of who you should be. We're past that. If you believe that you are uniquely made, a masterpiece created by the most magnificent being in this world, who are you to tell me that I cannot present myself in my natural form and be successful? You do not know the God that I serve. And since then, women, young ladies stepped in saying, I'm gonna have afro, locks, short hair, which means that even in this world that tries to define you and tell you what you should look like as a woman, I want us to remember what Shauna Kay continued to sing in the atmosphere. You are beautifully and wonderfully made, and you have to own that. The final thing I will say, because we went beyond the fear, we went beyond the problem of no, we went beyond what the world deems for us is the pivot. She spoke about it. I went to Cuba. Habla español. Yo hablo español así normalmente. Yo hablo español así normalmente. Que la persona cree que yo soy jamaicana, que yo soy cubana. Yo tengo que decir que no, yo soy jamaicana 100%. What I am saying is, books were in Spanish, classes were in Spanish. Everything was in. If you did not learn the language, you could not pass. I went, I studied. My class started with 73 people, and when we graduated, there were 15 of us left. I was the only English speaker. I came home, I went to the vet board, and I said, look, I've done it. My mother was with me. They looked at me and they said, sorry, we do not accredit students who study veterinary medicine in Cuba. They get just look okay. My mother said, what does that mean? They said, she can't do the exam, she can't practice. We said, then what is next? They said, well, she'll have to go to either Trinidad and Tobago or Alabama for 3 more years, which means I will be studying veterinary medicine for 9 years. My mother, with optimism, said to them, will you still give her a scholarship? They said, she has already benefited from a scholarship. So my mother said, well, what do we do? And they said, well, that is something you guys will have to come up with. When we left the office, my mother bawled, because at this point, we never have it before. You get the opportunity, you come home now, and there is still no opportunity. But let's talk about the God who we serve. Can we talk about the God who we serve? People see me host events, host conference, author this, speaker that, nothing formally trained. I've never stepped into a media class, I have never stepped, everything that you see is the mighty hand of God. However, it comes with obedience. We love to talk about the mighty hand of God. But when that fear comes in and you start to get crippled, you don't know. Did you sell Rising Stars? I went and I sat at that audition and I waited like everybody else. And what many people don't know is that the first year when I got through, I had to give it up. I had to give it up. And I did it not feeling any regret. And I said, God, if this is for me, it will be mine. And the second year it came back, they said, you don't even have to audition. It is yours. And I stayed there for 12 years. And since then, I have been pivoting. And I've been walking in rooms that I didn't even know existed. People are calling my names in rooms that I didn't even know existed. I want us to be very cognizant that God has always been working on you. Every opportunity, every trial, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything is bringing you to a moment in time. But you have to be obedient. I was not always qualified. But I said, if God has called me to do this, it is obvious that He has already equipped me with everything that I need to. What I will also add and say is, we must be in this world, but we must never conform to the world. So when I got opportunities, I made it very clear, I don't align. It doesn't matter how much money you want to give me. I can't take this job. There were people who offered me money to be ambassadors for parties with underage drinking, all kinds of things. And I said, are you crazy? I said, that's not what I believe in, that's not what I stand for. And we have to be able to look at people who we may deem with titles, positions, money, power, authority, and we have to be able to say, it does not align. And suppose I tell you, every time I said no, my yes was bigger. Every time I looked at something or someone who said, I will give you all of this if you bow down and worship me, because that's what it is saying. Each time I said no, my yeses were bigger, my rooms were bigger, my platforms were bigger, my influence was bigger, and I would rather have it that way. You may see people doing better than you. That's okay. A lot of the times you don't know what people are doing in order to be in the positions they are in. What you need to do is focus on the blueprint that God has laid out for you. And you are to be obedient in everything because He cannot fail. He's not a God who knows even how to fail. But you must be obedient. So go beyond the fear. Go beyond the problem of no. Go beyond what this world wishes to define you as. And go beyond the one box that you yourself, you're putting yourself in that box. God has called you to be many things, but most importantly, He has called you to minister, to be a disciple and to make other disciples. So that means you actually have to be a disciple. And you have to do it knowing that if nobody else has your back, that's the most important person. And so, Daughters Unlocked, will life be easy? Will it be easy as a Christian? And people will tell you, even after I got baptized, people said, Lord, I know your life will go hard, you know. And I said, well, I don't know what God you serve. But the God that I serve has been working, is working, and will continue to work. And so, Daughters Unlocked, I wish you nothing but the best, if it is God's will in your season. And I just want to remind you that He's a good God when life is going good, and He's a great God when life is going badly. So just hold the faith, and continue to own that you are a daughter of a mighty, majestic, and sovereign God. Thank you so very much. Take care.